This is question number 20 on the November 2014 calculator paper. So let's look at the question. The question says solve, and we've got an equation here, 3x squared minus 5x minus 1 is equal to 0. And it says give your answer to 3 significant figures. At this point in the question paper, the exam paper, you are doing questions of A and A star sort of grade. So this question here, you should expect to be a challenging question from an A or A star topic. And if you're given a quadratic, and you should be able to recognize a quadratic like this, and they've asked you to solve it, and they've also given you the idea that the answer is going to need rounding, so they've asked to round it to 3 significant figures, it's very likely that you'll need the quadratic formula. So those are all hints towards that. I'm not going to even try to solve that by factorizing it first and then working my way through. I'm actually going to go straight to the formula sheet at the front of the booklet, and on the formula sheet, so this is the formula sheet here, I've just highlighted the quadratic equation. It says the quadratic equation, the solutions of ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0 are given by this equation here. So I'm actually going to use that to solve this. Before I do that, I'm going to write above my equation ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. And I'm going to use that to help me identify what a, b, and c are. So a is going to be the number in front of x squared, which is 3. b is going to be the value in front of x, which in this case is minus 5. And c is going to be minus 1. Okay, so I've got my 3 values, and I'm going to use the equation from the formula sheet. I'll look back to the formula sheet and identify the equation. The equation is minus b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So all over 2a. Okay, what I'm going to do now is just substitute in the values for a, b, and c into this. So minus b is minus 5. I'm going to use brackets around that. So minus 5 plus or minus the square root of b squared, which as we said was minus 5 squared, minus 4a, which is 3, times c, which is minus 1. Okay, and all of that all over 2a. And a is 3. Okay, so carrying on with our workings, I'm going to now try to tidy this up before I do any workings out. So minus 5 is just 5, plus or minus the square root of minus 5 squared is 25. Minus 4 times 3 is minus 12. Minus 12 times minus 1 is plus 12. And I'm going to divide all of that by 2 times 3, which is 6. What I am about to do now is to split this into 2 calculations. Because of the plus or minus sign, I'm going to do this calculation twice, once by adding and once by taking away. So I split it into 2 bits and then use my calculator at the end to work out the answers. So I either have 5 plus the square root of, now 25 plus 12 is 37, divided by 6, or I'll have 5, now I've used the plus here, now I'm going to use the minus, it's the same, 25 plus 12 is 37, divided by 6. Okay, I'm going to work out each of those values and they will help me get the answer that I need. I'm going to use my calculator for those. So using my calculator, I'm going to use the fractions button. I'll have 5 plus the square root of 37 bring the cursor out of the square root and down below, divided by 6, and that's equal to 1.847127. And the other value, I'm going to try to be a bit clever with this and use the replay button to change the plus to a minus, equals, and press the SD button, minus 0. So that's minus 0.180460. Okay, so just so you can see it. Okay, not forgetting that the question asked us to write the answer to 3 significant figures, 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to cut it off at this stage, and so that answer is going to be 1.85. And this one, again counting from the first non-zero number, 1, 2, 3. I'm going to cut it off there. And so my answer is going to be minus 0.18. And because that next number along is a 4, it's not more than 5. That would stay as 0. So in the answer space, I'm going to write the answers 1.85 and minus 0.180. If I zoom out so that you can see the whole question, this is a pretty straightforward question, especially if you're aiming for top grade. You should be able to do it and get all the marks in it. Right? You may well state your work in a slightly different way, but make sure you always identify what A, B, and C are carefully. Take care with negative numbers when you're putting them in the formula. Use your calculator effectively, and make sure if the question asks you to round an answer, you do that and give your answer rounded to the necessary number of significant figures or decimal places.